This content is for educational purposes only. All examples and analysis are intended for these purposes and should not be considered as specific investment or trading advice. All hypothetical examples are for the purposes of teaching principles and are not intended to suggest future results. The risk of loss in trading securities, options, futures, and forex can be substantial. Customers must consider all relevant risk factors, including their own personal financial situation, before trading. Options, futures, and forex are considered more sophisticated investment vehicles due to high leverage and are not suitable for all investors. Any results shared should not be considered typical.
Welcome, everybody, to the Ultimate Trading Summit. We're in session number 1. I'm so glad you're here. Somebody asked me if I was alive earlier. I took that as a compliment. Yes, I am alive. I'm also broadcasting live, too. So glad you're here. If you're coming to us via recording, we're grateful for you as well. And I want to say on the front end, you have all of the same resources available to you. So you can ask questions in the Discord group. You got an email about that right after you registered. Of course, info@tradesmartu.com is always a resource that's available to you. And I want to honor you recording friends off the bat here and just say thank you for hitting play. Sometimes people register for things and, believe it or not, they never do it. They never hit play. They never watch the recording. They never take action. And you know what? They never make progress either. And so whether you're here live, thank you for being here live, or whether you're here on recording, I'm so grateful to have been able to meet you this evening. As we get started, I need to remind you the training's for educational purposes only. All examples and analysis are intended for these purposes and should not be considered a specific investment or trading advice. The last line, I underlined it as if to suggest it is significantly important. Any results shared should not be considered typical. You're going to see a lot of results in a lot of trading results in these sessions. You're going to see a lot more of them in the VIP sessions. You're even going to see the pro traders trading in the VIP sessions. And can I tell you that 60 minutes with me on a Sunday night is not all of the tools and resources that you need to put fat stacks of cash in your jeans, okay? I wanna make sure that you are fully briefed and that you understand that there is real results in this world of trading. Everybody, real result, yeah, there are real results, real risks as well in the world of trading. Everybody feel fully scared? All the 3-letter divisions, the FBI, the IRS, the SEC, MOUSE, they are all placated. Here's where we're headed this evening, friends. Tonight, we're going to be building the foundation for your first or next $25,000 in 2025. I'm going to come back and talk towards the end of our time together about why that's an important number. But what I want you to understand is whether you've got a little bit of experience already or you're brand new, this is the spot for you. And we're going to take any of you, the experienced or the unexperienced, across that threshold of generating $25,000 in 2025. I'm going to share with you 2 important formulas that you need to put cash in your jeans. We're going to talk about your trading launch pad, the one, the only Rebecca is going to be sharing with you. I'm so excited to introduce her. We've got some surprises with Rebecca coming up. Then we're going to go and talk about your trading edge, gaining an edge with modern tools and technology. Caden's going to take over from there and share with us some very insightful ways that he looks at and uses custom indicators. And then we'll wrap up with some next steps to make progress. I'm going to target 90 minutes tonight, maybe a little bit shorter here on this first night. By way of quick orientation, by the way, welcome to everybody who's new. And I also want to honor you guys. I mean, you saw an advertisement on Facebook and had the courage to click that and put your email address in and show up. In today's world, that's nearly miraculous. And so thank you for trusting us with your time. Thank you for trusting us with your email address. We want to always honor both of those at the highest level possible. So by way of orientation, if you're new here, questions go in the Q&A pane and chit chat goes in the chat pane. The difference on my end is I have some controls for the Q&A pane and I can assign them to different instructors or moderators and they can answer them or I can grab them myself live. The chit chat is like a Twitter feed, or I guess we call it X now. It's just woo, it goes. So if you put a question in there, it's not like you get negative points. but I probably will miss it. And then you get frustrated because I didn't answer your question and you thought it was live and all these things start questioning. And let's not do that. If you have a question that needs answered, put it in the Q&A pane. Set your chat to go to everybody. It's so much fun when everybody can see the stream of consciousness. By the way, if that distracts you, just turn it off. Click it and turn it off. I understand if it's distracting, but I would say the majority like seeing the excitement that builds in the chat pane. I also encourage you to turn that phone over, close social media. I know all the temptations. My phone is literally on the other side of the room because I want to give you 100%. And I'm just crazy enough to think that if you yourself pour in 100% as well, you're going to walk away with some massive value. So give me an hour to an hour and a half of your time, and I think that we'll be able to repay that exponentially. Now, some of you guys have already found it. My favorite thing in Zoom is the new icon buttons. I think it's called reactions. Go ahead and find that sucker. The reason I like reactions is because they show up on the video. So our friends that are going to be watching the recording late tonight or tomorrow, they see all of your reactions, but they don't see the chat pane. So when you're engaging, if you can do it in the reactions, that's great. Also the chat pane, equally great. Just know that our video friends won't be able to participate with the chat pane, which is one benefit to coming live. Lastly, I don't anticipate a problem, but have a great time, edify each other, and if you're a troublemaker, we will exit you from the premises, and there's a zero strike policy. And here's how you know if you're a troublemaker. You tend to focus all of the conversation on you, you're a know-it-all, or you're just a flat-out jerk, and you say mean and nasty things. There's enough of that happens on social media and the news media, and we just have no tolerance for it here. So I will exit you so that you're not a distraction from other people that are wanting to learn. Now, real quickly, if we haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name's Josh. I am the founding trader here at Tradesmart University. I'm also your host for the summit. So this is a little different format than we have really ever done before. I'm gonna come on board and teach a little bit and introduce the principle, and then I'm gonna hand it over to an expert like Rebecca, like Caden this evening. And then they'll come back and I'll teach for a little bit, and then I'll hand it over to the experts to go a little bit deeper. I think it's gonna be a really great format. In the last 15 years, I've trained over 300,000 people. By the way, note to self, in 1 month, that's gonna tick up to 16 years. 2009 was the very first training we did. And fun fact, my dad was the very first student that I ever had. I'll tell you more about that in class 4. I've worked with people that are kiddos, my own kiddos, other people's kiddos. I'm right now teaching a group of high school students how to put fat stacks of cash in their jeans. Every Thursday, you're welcome to join us. From kids to people that are well into their 4th quarter of life. I've worked with people that have what I would consider a small account, around $1,500 or so, to people that have humongous accounts, $1 million, $2 million trading accounts. And the only reason that I bring that up, especially for those of you that are new here, is because I want you to be encouraged this evening. There has never been a better time to learn to trade the stock market. The stock market has never been more accessible. The stock market has never been easier to forecast, and candidly, the stock market has never been more disciplined. I challenge you to go look at a chart today compared to a chart even 20 years ago. 20 years ago, bounced all around and went bonkers. Today, it's nice, smooth curves, and all you need to do, your job as a trader, is to analyze those curves and build a strategy to put cash in your jeans. Lastly, I'm the manager of the public TSU trading account. I have this crazy belief that if you go to a restaurant and a chef is not eating their own cooking, that might be indicative of a problem. And there's so many people out there in the trading world that have this next hot idea or this next breakthrough strategy. And if you dig in and ask them, like, well, can you show me where you've done this? It's all in theory, and they've not actually taken a bite of their own cooking. Myself and every one of the instructors that you're going to hear from this week manage their own public trading account. We're public with the results, the good, the bad, the amazing, the challenging, and that's available for you guys to see whenever you want. Now, over the next 4 days, and I don't know if you guys realize you signed up for a 4-day thing. You're like, oh my gosh, Monday night, I got this. No, clear the calendar, my friends. because over the next 4 days, you are going to learn how to make your first or next $25,000 trading. Now, some of you are brand new here and you're like, I've seen these kind of shenanigans before on Facebook. Just 25 seconds and you too can make $25,000 in 2025, right? This is not that. Let's start with a few benchmarks and let me kind of paint a picture for you of where we're heading. Let's first assume that you achieve a 70% win-loss ratio. That means 7 out of your 10 trades are profitable. I don't know what your history is. That may sound highly achievable, or that may sound even sensational to you. I'm here to tell you that Caden, you're going to hear from him a little bit later tonight. Caden, with the students that he mentors, has a strategy that generates 90% win-loss ratios when it's paired with artificial intelligence. When it's not paired with artificial intelligence, the lowest performing day, he measures it by day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the lowest performing day is 78%, and it tends to average out in the low 80s. That's when it's not paired with artificial intelligence. If you work with Tradesmart University, one of our first goals and one of the lowest bars is to get your analysis to the point where you're achieving a 70% win-loss ratio. I think it's highly achievable. The second benchmark that we're going to start with is assuming, let's not even assume, let's set a standard that you only risk 2% of your trading account on every trade. And kind of paired with that, you're averaging a 3% return on every trade. Now, those of you who have been students of Tradesmart in the past will recognize that as a 1R risk and a 1.5R return on average. And those of you that are in here that have been longtime students of Tradesmart, you can help our new friends realize that once you have the systems and strategies, these are rather low benchmarks that we're setting to achieve. So 70% win-loss ratio, you're risking 2% on any given trade, you're making 3% on average for your winning trades, and you're gonna put in about 5 trades a week. Now, if you're like me, that's like 3.5 trades on Monday and the rest on Wednesday. Fun fact about myself, I do not like being tethered to my computer. I'm kind of a free-range trader. I like to be out and about. Now, you could do that. You could place a trade on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Alfonso does that all the time with the students that he works with. The pace is up to you, but as a benchmark here, I'm going to set a standard of working to place 5 trades a week. And then I'm going to assume that you've got a $20,000 trading account. So here's my question to you to kick things off. If you had the proven system, if you had 20 grand sitting around, and if you had a little bit of guidance from a mentor, how many weeks would it take you to make $25,000, your first or next $25,000? Well, I did the math for you. It's a little over 100 trades in about 23 weeks. That's factual. Now, again, I don't know, like YouTube has broke everything, right? Like some of you are like, well, crap, I thought I was going to make $25,000 this week. I'm sorry for your loss. Some of you are like, wow, that's only half a year. You mean I could make another $25,000 the second half of the year? Yes, do it. What if I place 2 trades a day? Great. It's only 12 weeks. The reality is it's a little over 100 trades between you and $25,000. Now, some of y'all just got super excited. You're like, let's go. Or if you're Alfonso, it's going to be LFG. Let's freaking go. He's assured me that means freaking, and I believe him. Let's go. I like the emojis coming up. Now, some of you guys, I understand, just got really disappointed. And you're thinking to yourself, well, Josh, I don't have $20,000 laying around. Or, you see, Josh, I have this spouse that's not really on board with the whole trading thing yet. And there's no way in Hades that they're going to let me take $20,000 and start trading that right now. And some of y'all are just a little bit scared, if we're candid. And you're nervous about losing some money before you build the muscle necessary to be successful. Anybody fall in that second category? You don't have to put it in the chat pane, but the emojis are all anonymous, so you can let me know. Yeah. I have good news for you. TSU funds our own traders. It's important that I bring this up right now, and it's a very important lesson on the front end of things. Sometimes we start enthusiastically solving for the problem that isn't. Your problem right now is not that you don't have a $20,000 trading account. And if you do have a $20,000 trading account, please, for the love of everything important in your life, let me give you a funded trading account. I just talked to a guy yesterday. Unfortunately, he was at a funeral, but he had found out that I did stock market-y things, and he said, last year I lost half my portfolio. And I was like, bro, don't do that. I can give you a funded trading account, which, by the way, has guardrails on it, so you can't lose half that portfolio. Your most important question right now is not, how do I get $20,000? Or maybe I should say it this way, your most significant problem is not, how do I get $20,000? Your problem is, you keep clicking on these things. I literally typed in, how to make money trading. You all can do this little exercise later tonight. Don't do it now. Don't get distracted. We had an agreement, right? No phones, no being a jerk. Typed it in. This is one of the first videos that came up on YouTube. Make millions with crypto in less than 1 year. Explained in under 10 minutes. What the freak? I'm like 15 minutes in right here. You could have learned how to make $1 million in crypto if you had just clicked on that video instead of coming to the Ultimate Trading Summit. By the way, isn't that a face that you'd love to slap? I thought it was funny in his, I don't even know what they call it, comments here. Hit like, share, and subscribe. Now we understand what you want. Here's another one. Same page. Same, above the fold, if you will. I make $45,000 per month trading one simple strategy. And to give authority, so this guy just looked goofy. This guy looks angry here. To give authority, he says live trade results. I don't know what he's doing, and I certainly don't want to throw cold water on somebody making $45,000 a month trading one simple strategy. I will tell you, I have not come across one simple strategy that makes $45,000 a month unless you're trading a $500,000 account or so, which we can do. We can give you a $500,000 account. But for most people, that kind of breaks their frame of reference, and I don't encourage you to start out there. Here's my favorite one. This guy I do kind of want to slap. Top 3 penny stock tricks to get rich quick in 2025. 0 experience to $100,000 in 9 months. My friends, if you go to YouTube and type in, how do I make money trading? This is what you encounter. And I affectionately call my friends that do that Sir Searches a lot. I don't have a female version of this, but that's probably better that way, because I'm kind of making fun of this guy, if you haven't figured that out by now. Sir Searches a lot, goes all around YouTube looking for the next greatest hit. And you might be a Sir Searches a lot if you find yourself confused by conflicting strategies and advice. Or if you're overwhelmed chasing shadows and holy grails. Seems like a puzzle that's missing some random pieces, doesn't it? Or maybe the videos just seem like, golly, this is sensational. Like, I need no experience in 45 seconds and I'm going to make 100 grand this year. That almost seems what? Too good to be true. Are you exhausted from breakthrough whiplash? Last week it was a breakthrough. This week it's a new breakthrough. Why do we have a new breakthrough? Well, because you got to feed the YouTube algorithm. Boom, new breakthrough. Or you might be a Sir Searches a lot if you're frustrated by cherry-picked results that are lacking a track record. I went to one of Alfonso's teachings, a few weeks ago, months ago now, I guess. And I liked how he started. He committed to being sincere. You're not always going to like what I have to share with you. You may wish that it was a little bit faster. You may wish that it was a little bit easier. I love what Jim Rohn says about that. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Pray to get better. But I like that. I will always commit to being sincere, to being candid, to showing you the problem that is and not the sensational breakthrough that isn't. So what you need, in addition to your funded trading account, is a proven system. A proven system to pair with a funded trading account sets you up for generating your first or next $25,000. And here's that proven system. I said I was going to give you two formulas tonight. This is the first of those formulas, A plus S plus M to the M squared, or power of M. Those letters are all below, underlined and in purple. You see how I connected those dots there? Graphic design, strong suit of mine. Tonight, day one, we're going to talk about analyzing, how to build the skill of accurate forecasting. The second step in what I call the ultimate trading formula is strategy, designing the best strategies for your DNA. Scott and Valerie are going to step in on night 2 and be sharing strategies, and specifically personalized strategies, with you. Night number 3, monetization. Learn how to put fat stacks of cash in your jeans. Alfonso's going to be sharing with you that evening how to find the best and also find the worst trades. Is there value in finding a terrible trade? Yeah, so you don't go place it. And then on the last day, we're going to talk about maximization, moving from finance to freedom. This is new. If you've been at TSU for any amount of time, you may have heard analyze, strategize, monetize. That's kind of the 3 foundations, the 3 pillars that everything we teach rests upon. And I was sharing with a small group of students recently, and I realized that there's a 4th pillar, which is maximization. Because you see, friends, I can go through the next 4 days together with my instructor friends here and give you the framework to create a job. You can go and sit down at your computer and exchange hours for dollars and put fat stacks of cash in your jeans. You can do that. Hundreds of thousands, millions of people have gone before you and done that. But I had this realization that if all we're doing is exchanging hours for dollars, we still have a job. And what a lot of people come to Tradesmart desiring is not a new job, but to experience freedom. And there's a distinction. Now, I trade and I still work and I have multiple jobs that I do. I don't think I'll ever retire. But I also have ultimate freedom because nothing requires that I show up at any given time, unless we schedule the Ultimate Trading Summit, and then I have to show up at a scheduled time. So by point of clarification, as we go through the summit here, you're in a main session right now, and this is where you're going to experience education, the what. You had an opportunity when you registered to upgrade to a VIP. It was less than 20 bucks. I'll let the secret out right now. This is my little test. It's $19. This is my little test to see who's serious. And I'll give you guys some stats here at the end of class. But 85% of VIP people show up. 15% of non-VIP people show up. It turns out that $20 is the difference that makes the difference for you to follow through and do what you said you were going to do. And it always cracks me up because one of the limiting beliefs that people have is, well, I just don't have enough money for a trading account. Well, we already destroyed that limiting belief because I can give you a funded trading account that fast. But then I also think, why wouldn't you spend $20 on education that's arguably 20 times that valuable? The VIP sessions is where you're going to learn the how. Education and application. I tell people all the time, if education was all you needed, then librarians would drive Lamborghinis. But that's just not the case, because education must be paired with application. So here's an overview, and Rebecca, get ready because I'm about to hand this to you. In the Ultimate Trading Summit, we're going to go through the Ultimate Trading Formula. Analyze, strategize, monetize, and maximize. Is that spelled right? I think it is. Maximize. At the end of the summit, Some of you are going to say, Josh, that was so good. Thank you so much, especially if you're VIP. You're going to have a roadmap, you're going to have a little bit of application, and you're going to be so excited. Others of you are going to say, man, this was really good, and I sure wish there was somebody to help me through the next steps. And candidly, at the end of the summit, there'll be an opportunity to join a brand new apprenticeship program that we're rolling out in 2025. I'll explain all that at the end of the summit. This is designed for you to get the table of contents in a world-class trading system, and then to decide if you want to get mentored by the very people that wrote that book. And you'll see here the ingredients to the second most important formula. Education and application is the system. And then you need some cash to trade. I would prefer to give that to you in the form of a funded account. And then you need some mentorship. If you're a screenshot kind of person and you didn't sign up for VIP, so you didn't get all my notes, you got a pencil fire going on right now, don't you? So sorry for your loss. No. You can take a screenshot of this slide and print it out just to kind of jog your memory. A proven system, which is analyze, strategize, monetize, maximize. A proven system plus a funded trading account multiplied by mentorship is cash in your jeans. I don't want anybody stressing out. The price of enrollment and of a mentorship is easily covered by a trade. So don't be sitting here stressing on me. The thing you should be stressing out about is if the apprenticeship is going to fill up before you get enrolled. Enough on that for now. We'll talk more about it at the end of the apprenticeship. What I want you to understand is right now there's about 100 trades between you and $25,000. Now, why did I pick $25,000? One of the reasons is it works very nicely with 2025. 25 grand in 2025 kind of rolls off the tongue, or it's a tongue twister, whichever way you want to look at it. I like that. But here's the more important reason. The skills and discipline required for you to grow a funded account by $25,000 are exponentially scalable. I'm going to share a little bit more of my trading journey in session number 4. But riddle me this, does it sound familiar to you? You learn to trade, you get over like the initial shock of like, wow, I had a few very bad trades. That's kind of the price of admission, and it weeds out all the people that are not committed. But you kind of get past that pretty quickly, and then you make $5,000 and right back to break even, and then you're negative $2,000. So you're super excited to go and tell your spouse, hey, I'm up $4,000 again, and then you're back to break even, and then maybe you even get to $10,000, and you're back to break even again. Anybody been on that roller coaster? What I have experienced in my own life and seen across the lives of thousands of students at this point is there's something magical about 25 grand. Now, is it 26 grand, 24 grand? Probably not. It's probably more like 20 grand. But once you have felt that bicycle balance, 25 grand didn't happen by accident. It happened because you've mastered the system and you've built the discipline to follow through. And at that point, it has unlimited possibility. And that's what I want to get you to. I don't want to move on before I mention this. I had a very impactful experience in 2017. I'll share this until the day I'm no longer on this earth. I think this is of utmost importance that you figure out how to make money trading, because I believe to my core that when good people have more money, they're able to do even more good things. I encourage you to take this, to master this, to put fat stacks of cash in your jeans, and then take it the next step and share it with somebody else. Now, don't steal my stuff or Scott's stuff or Valerie's stuff. That's called thievery, and it's not good. But do master it, do make it your own, and do share it with the world, because when good people have more money, they can do even more good things. And I'm crazy enough to think that if we can get millions of people making money trading, that we might just move the needle in this crazy world that we live in. Come on now. Lastly, before I hand this over to Rebecca, if you are brand new to trading, would you please type new in capital letters in the chat pane as if you're yelling at me? We don't necessarily try to target the brand new people, but they come to us either via friends or, the marketing targeting is not always perfect. And I want to thank you guys for being here. And normally at this point, I'd be like, hey, email info@tradesmartu.com. We've got an introductory course for you and good luck. That's kind of what it amounted to. But not tonight, my friends. I am so thrilled to introduce to you the newest TSU mentor. You know her as the face behind info@tradesmartu.com, Rebecca Brady. I'm calling her the launch controller. Let me tell you a little bit about Rebecca. Rebecca started off as a student at TSU, literally watched every single class that we have. And then she turned into a mentor. What do we say whenever somebody has a problem? Hey, I can't address that right here, right now. Email Rebecca, info@tradesmartu.com. And over the last decade, Rebecca has helped students just like you overcome the challenges of launching their trading account successfully. Rebecca's an expert in beginner trading tools and strategies, and I've asked her to come in tonight and speak to you guys who are beginners so that we can add value to you, we can encourage you, and I want you to meet her. Because if you're brand new, never traded before, Rebecca's about to be your best friend. She's really good at breaking things down into simple terms so that you can launch efficiently. I'm also excited to announce that Rebecca is going to be leading a new group of apprenticeship students. We're calling it Start Smart. I would like to say I came up with that name, but I did not. It was Rebecca. I'm like, that is so genius. It's for the newbies. Like, you've never traded before. You don't even know what a broker is. You don't know what a stock chart is. Great. Start Smart with Rebecca. It's going to be launching here next week. To give a little bit of runway for where Rebecca's going, let's take a look at this chart, and we'll have some fun here, and I'll hand it over. Looking at this chart as is, what do you think? Is it going to go up, down, or you have no idea? Thumbs up for up, party hat for down, and heart for no idea. I love the hearts coming in, and I chose it specifically because I want to break down this stigma that it's somehow a bad thing to not know. If you don't know, just don't trade it. There's no bonus points for trading the difficult stocks. And I would agree, like, it's kind of hard to see right now. But Rebecca's going to show you is by adding certain frameworks to your chart, you can start to get a little different picture of what might be happening. Now, you pros out there, you know who you are. Those of you that are studs. What's the female? I'm not going to ask that question. I was going to say, what's the female version of that? But let's not go there. What direction does this look like it's going to go in now? I got a laughy face. That wasn't one of the choices. Yeah, up, 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 up. One no idea still, and that is okay if you have no idea. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and my honor to introduce to you the one, the only, Rebecca Brady. Light up the screen with emojis and let Rebecca know that you are excited for her to be here this evening. Come on.
All right. Hey, guys. I'm going to share my screen. That laughy face was for me, Josh. I guess you
Oh,
guys were
thank you.
laughing when you were saying you didn't want to ask what the female version of that is. You cracked me up. I laughed at you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I am really, really excited to be joining the TSU instructor team. Like Josh said, I've been here for 10 years. This is my first year teaching, and I'm very excited to get to spend additional time with some of you guys in some of my classes. And I really appreciate the 15 or so minutes I get to work specifically with the newbies. Now, I want you guys to know that Josh is giving me a very difficult task of engaging with the beginners and providing them something tangible as they begin their journey but also not boring the pants off the experts. So I know that there's going to be some terms and technology that I'm going to be using that is going to be a little bit over the beginner's head. So, but don't worry, because I've got a VIP session tomorrow for those of you new traders who are also VIP. I can walk you through some more of that tomorrow. And then if you end up joining my apprenticeship, we're going to really take a deep dive into the very basic beginner stuff for the first couple of classes. So you may feel a little bit confused tonight, but don't let it overwhelm you. When I was a beginner trader, two of the most impactful things and things that you have to know um, is how to identify trends, and then I say moving averages, but indicators. So a moving average is an indicator. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But you really need to choose an indicator, and you have to know how to identify trends. So that's what I'm going to start with tonight. With trend identification, first, as a newbie, you need to know, what is a trend? A trend is the general direction in which a financial asset's price is moving over a specified period. Now, the easier to understand terms on that is that basically it tells you which direction. It is the direction of a price, a stock's price. Is it moving up? Is it moving down? Is it moving sideways? Which is the three trends on a stock chart: uptrends, downtrends, and sideways trends. Now, there are several identifiers of a trend, and one is price action. We're only going to go over two tonight, but one is price action. And with an uptrend, that means a price moving up in an upward direction. You're going to have higher highs and higher lows. And with a downtrend, you'll have lower highs and lower lows. And with a sideways trend, you'll have repeated highs and lows within a defined range. The second way to identify trends is with trend lines. So I'm going to throw up some pictures up here, and these are actual charts from my charts. With an uptrend, a line is drawn along the lows of the price action to highlight the rising direction. And with a downtrend, the line is drawn along the highs of the price action. And with a sideways trend, it's horizontal lines drawn at support and resistance. So what you want to kind of think about it as is, if you take your kids or your grandkids, or you've done this yourself, I know that I have, you put up the bumpers when you're bowling. So you're out there bowling, you throw up the bumpers, and that's going to keep the ball, as it bounces off bumpers, going in the same direction. It's not going to end up rutted in a gutter. So that's the way you can look at a trend, is as if you're bumper bowling. It's going to bounce in between those lines that I call channels, but it's going to continue in the same direction, and it helps you see where the channel is. But that's how you can kind of look at that. Now, let's take a look. You guys take a look at this real quick, and then we're going to move on. We're going to take a look at an actual chart so that you can see how easy it is to identify trends. When I move each of the squares, or the rectangles, I want you guys to type in the chat, and let me see if I can get my chat pulled up. If you think the trend is moving up, down, or sideways. Give me a roll just a second so I can find the chat, so I can see what you guys are saying. And scroll down. Okay, so we're going to move the first one. What do you guys think? Looking at this first one, do you think that that is an uptrend, a downtrend? And you guys already got it. You already got it. Up, 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 up. Excellent. Okay, perfect. Yes, if you said up, that is correct. That is an uptrend. I need the bumpers. That was funny. I'm bad at rolling too. Okay, so here's our second one. Are we thinking up, down, or sideways? Type it in the chat. Caden's bad at bowling. Your dad's calling you out, Caden. Sideways. Okay, you already have this, you know. All right, let's do this third one. Sideways is correct, by the way. Sideways on that trend. What do we got here? We got a down, up, down, sideways. We got a couple of sideways. We got a down. If we're looking right here, then it is a downtrend. And one more. I gotta let last people get their answers in. Good job. Okay. And then the last one. Oh, I went too fast. Let me skip through. All right, this last one, guys. Up, down. Good gracious. Up, down, or sideways. It's because I keep clicking this chat box. Up, 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 up. You guys even got it with all my mistakes in there. So you guys see easily. You've already easily looked at a chart, segmented it out, and you've mastered naming the trend. You've in just this very few short minutes, you've mastered that. Now, we're going to leave trends here for today. And I'm really excited to talk more about trends because they're really important. Obviously, you need to know what direction stocks are going. And I'm going to talk more about that in my upcoming VIP session tomorrow and my apprenticeship. But right now, I want to give you guys a little bit of a cheat code. And it doesn't excuse you from actually taking the course or the chapter or learning about trends and trend lines, but it is a little secret that moving averages kind of do the job for you. So that's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to talk about moving averages. So, um, I recommend choosing an indicator. And again, that's what moving average is. I recommend that you use more than one, but as a beginner trader, you need to choose one that you really can understand and use well before you add on. As you learn more, you'll add on more. And I chose moving averages when I was a beginner because it's very easy to see on your chart and to understand. So, what is a moving average? A moving average is a statistical calculation used in technical analysis to smooth out price data by creating a constantly updated average price. It helps traders and investors identify trends by filtering out short term price fluctuations, making it easier to see the overall direction of a market or asset. Now, there's a lot of stocky techie words in there. But what you need to understand about moving averages is that it helps you identify the trend. That's really what it is. It indicates when there's a trend or a trend reversal. And the next several slides, these charts that you see are actual stock charts that I went in and pulled up for you guys. So these lines on this stock chart are the moving average lines. So there are lots of types, but the two that we're going to quickly run through are simple moving averages and exponential moving averages. Simple moving averages, they average of closing prices over a set period. And then similar to the simple moving average, the exponential moving average does the same thing, but it gives more weight to the recent prices, making it more responsive. I personally use exponential moving averages, and these are my settings. So when you add them to your chart, these are the settings that I use. It's a 10 period, 20 period, and 50 period, and that's approximately 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and 10 weeks. And I always use my moving averages together. I don't just do one moving average line on my chart and leave it at that. That would give you no information at all. So you use them together. How you're going to use them to identify the trend is that when the price is above the moving average, it's an uptrend. So if you look at the top picture, you've got your candles. These are what these are, is candlesticks. They are above the three moving average lines. That's an uptrend, and that's how you can identify that just by a quick glance. It's above the lines. It's an uptrend. And a downtrend is when they are below the moving averages. So you can see here and here, the prices drop below the moving average lines. And then in a sideways trend, they're basically going to be going right through the middle of each other. The price is going to run through the averages, and the averages are going to run through the price, and that's a sideways trend. Here's a little um, chart that we're going to talk about where these things cross and what that means. When a moving average signals a bullish trade buy long, bullish trade is an uptrend up. And this is something I learned very, very early on because the bullish and the bearish always got me confused. A bull is an uptrend, and how I remember that is that a bull comes down and goes up when it's going to gore you, and a bear goes up on his hind legs and comes down when he's going to claw you. So bull is up, bear is down. And sometimes I still have to do the hand motions, even years and years later. When a moving average signals a bearish trade, you sell short. Now, with the bullish trade or the uptrend trade, this is signaled by the shorter moving average crossing above the longer moving average. And the bearish is signaled by the shorter moving average crossing below the longer moving average. Now, I'm going to admit that it took me days to understand what that basic like sentence meant when it said crossing above. I was thinking that the crossing itself, where these little moving averages actually cross, has to be above something, but it's not. It's the lines themselves. So in my chart, purple is 10, it's the 10 period, orange is 20 period, and the blue is the 50 period. And so as you can see here, the 10 and the 20, which are the shorter of the three, have crossed above the longer. So we've got our 10 above the 50. And that's how you know that right here, as it shifted above, because if you look to the left, you can see that the 10 and the 20 were actually below the 50 and they crossed over to be above the 50, the blue line. That signaled a bullish trade. It was sideways and then they crossed, and that would signal an uptrend or a bullish trade. And here again, your shorter two are above your longer, and it crosses right here. We've got one crossing right here where the shorter cross is below, and this is signaling a bearish or a downtrend. It's crossed below the longer. 10 is shorter than longer, shorter than 20, and it has crossed over. And you can see that again here. It kind of crosses into a sideways trend. As you can see, it's flat. And here again, it crosses all the way under. Both the 10 and the 20 go under the 50 to do a downtrend, and they cross again here. Both the 10 and the 20 go up above the 50 to go up. And that's your uptrend. That's how you see that as a signal, those little crosses where the longer and the shorter they cross into different directions. Okay, 3 things that you're looking for in a bullish signal or an uptrend signal. The stock has a closing price above all the moving averages. So we have that here. As you can see right here, the stock price is kind of in the middle of the moving averages like we talked about, and this one has crossed or has closed above the moving averages. And the second thing you're looking for is at least one, if not two, of the moving averages have crossed up, and we just talked about that. The two were here, and they crossed above the longer one, so we have two of them that have actually crossed up. And then the last thing you're looking for is a strong angle. Now this is the 130 that you see there is like on a clock, and it's not like the clock is telling you it's 130. It's the hand of the clock pointing in between the 1 and the 2. And I actually have a clock here for you. And that's going to signify that that's a strong angle. That's a sustainable upward angle at the 130. And this is for bearish. So the 3 things that you're looking for are basically the same. They're just going to be reversed. And this is a bearish signal, so downtrend. The stock has a closing price below the moving averages, and there we have that one. Again, these were kind of running through the moving averages, and it went below. The at least one moving average, if not two, have crossed, and again, we had the two crosses. The 10 and the 20 were above the 50, and they crossed down below the 50, so the 50 is now above them. And then a strong angle of 430 for a bearish or downward trend signal. And so that's going to look like this on your clock, where the hand would be pointing between the 4 and the 5 on the clock. And I actually sometimes still get out this clock if I'm really questioning it, just to kind of see if it's really an angle that's sustainable. Okay, so what does the moving average say? This is where you guys are going to take a look and see if you can tell what that moving average is telling you. And we're going to take a look right here in this area right here. We want to see the 3 things. Closing price above the moving averages, and that's MA is short for moving averages. So do we have that? Well, yes, we do. We have this right here. We had it going through. We have it above. Do we have at least one of the MAs or moving averages crossed? And you can tell that by having a 10 and a 20, and it comes across as it crosses the 50. And then is it a 130 angle, or at least the start of what looks to be a 130 sustainable angle? And I say, and I'm thinking that you guys are all going to agree, that we have all those 3 things. Let me get my chat back up. What do you guys say is the moving average is saying about this? Is the trend going to continue on sideways, or is it going to go down, or is it going to go up? What do you guys think? You could type up, down, sideways, up, 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 up. Everybody's saying up. Excellent. So, those of you who said up, you were right. And the moving average told you that ahead of time. So, if you'd gotten in at the bearish signal, the bullish signal, the uptrend signal, then you could have locked in your profits, rode it all the way up here, and put fat stacks of cash in your jeans. Okay, great. Awesome. Good job. All right, we're going to do one more. We're going to look and see if this is a really good sideways one, and it kind of looks like it might go down, but what does the moving average say? So we're looking to see if the closing price is below the moving average. Do we have one of those? And we're looking right here in this little area. Do we? Yes, we do. And is there at least one moving average that's crossed? And right now you can see that there's at least one. You've got your 10 that's crossed below the 50. And then is it at least the start of a 430 angle? And I'm going to say yes to all those things. I'm thinking you guys are going to say yes to all those things. So tell me real quick, up, down, sideways. What do you think? Starting down, 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 down. Okay, you guys got it. Down it is. Now, generally speaking, you might want to wait a little bit longer to make sure that trend is actually heading down, but the moving average said down. It was a signal that it was a potential downturn, and it did. It went down. So you could have sold short there at the signal and rode that all the way down and made another chunk of fat cash for your jeans. That's all I have for you guys tonight. I'm really grateful for the time. Some of that again might have been a little bit more expert than the beginners would understand, but we're going to break it all down, a lot down tomorrow in the VIP session. We're going to go back over some moving averages and things like that. And I look forward to seeing all of you there. And I'm hoping to see some of you guys in future sessions with me. Josh, back to you.
So good. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Rebecca's first session she ever taught in front of a huge room full of people. Didn't she do good? Give her some emoji love, give her some chat love. I'm like as proud as a papa right now. We've taught Rebecca everything she knows. She came to us without any stock knowledge and has just hit it out of the park. Really, really good job, Rebecca. I did give you an impossible task of bringing the newcomers up to speed while not boring the seasoned veterans here. If perhaps you felt like this was too elementary for you, wait just 1 second. It's about to get real. Good. I hope you see all that love and just soak all that in, Rebecca. Well deserved, well earned. And thank you for call Rebecca the TSU mom, because she really keeps all of us boys straightened out. I'm going to do a hard left turn. Y'all good with that? Give me a thumbs up if you can handle a sharp left turn here. I'm going to transition to introducing probably my favorite instructor. Definitely my favorite instructor for reasons you'll understand in a moment. But I want to kind of segue talking about the idea of a trader's ladder. I was trying to imagine a metaphor for a trader's journey, an empowering trader's journey. And I thought of this idea of the ladder. I grew up in a high school that had I guess it wasn't high school, it was our local library, had a ladder that went way up high, and they always had the sign, you had to have somebody help you with the books, and they put the most important, rare books up on the top shelf, and I had always imagined that's what I need, the book that's up there, but there's the ladder and the sign and all the things, and I can't get to it because it's on the top shelf. Same thing is true. I don't personally drink, but top shelf liquor, they put it up there so you're not going to break it. It's important. You need to climb up to get to it. And the same thing is kind of true with your trading journey. Some of you are at the moving average level right now. That's one of the bottom rungs on the ladder, and that's okay. There's a lot of good things available to you on that rung of the ladder. But the higher you move up the ladder, the better your trades. Now, better is an ambiguous word, so let's define what that is. A better trade is one that has an improved win-loss ratio. With moving averages, you should be able to get to a 70% win-loss ratio. But with some of the things that you're about to learn from Caden, you should be able to move that to 75, 80, 85%. Your win-loss ratio should improve as you climb up the ladder. As you climb up the ladder, you should get even greater profit on your winning trades. And you should be able to recycle your cash faster. One of the stories I often tell is if I were to guarantee that you would double your money on this trade, and if you don't, I'll personally subsidize it. How many of y'all would take that trade? You don't have to answer it right now. But usually the chat pane erupts. Like, I'd be crazy not to take that trade. Of course I'll take that trade. And then I intentionally set them up and I say, oh, but wait a minute, the trade takes 100 years to complete. Well, now all of a sudden, doubling your money in 100 years is not that good of a trade. So we've created a standard, right? Somewhere between instant and 100 years is a good period of time to double your money. So I would challenge you that one of your outcomes as a trader is to improve that turnover rate, recycle your cash even faster. That's going to occur as you take another step up the ladder. And furthermore, and maybe one of the most important ones to me, is it should require less and less of your time. That's what I would define as a better trade as you take the next step up the ladder. But here's the deal. Keep climbing, keep pursuing. I think it's Tony Robbins that says, if you're not growing, you're dying. There's no such, we don't plateau in this business. Keep climbing, keep pursuing, and don't forget about the bottom rungs. An interesting thing happened as Rebecca was sharing. About 12 people left. I'm sure they had to go to the bathroom or something, because certainly it wouldn't be that they thought, oh, I already know everything. I already know all there is to know about moving averages. I listened intently because I was reminded moving averages is a lot like, trading channels is a lot like bowling. We're heading in a direction, and I shouldn't be surprised when the ball bounces off the bumper one direction or another. And by the way, I can confirm Caden's a terrible bowler, but we love him. He's a genius. He's just not a good bowler. Don't forget about the bottom rungs. With that said, I am so excited to introduce to you my favorite instructor, Caden Hesse, ladies and gentlemen, the innovator. Echo, echo, echo. Caden is an innovator. How many of y'all have had a chance to hear Caden teach or watch him trade? Give an emoji in the Zoom platform. Caden is a second generation trader. I was thinking recently, he began sitting on my lap when he was about 7 years old. And he's always been fascinated with charts and numbers, and he's been super gifted in math. And it's interesting, like I have a lot of questions for him because he's grown up never not knowing trading. Like, this is not a new thing to him. All he's ever known is stock trading, and has gone on to be a highly successful stock trader in his own right. He's also a specialist in artificial intelligence forecasting. Many of you have used the software, the Deep Sky Trading Assistant. Maybe you've even used it before you got to TSU here. This is the guy that built it. By the way, when he was 13 years old, he built it, and he won a trading competition with it. He's also an expert in algorithmic trading and custom indicators. One of the cool things about Caden is we'll sit around the dinner table, by the way, not for much longer, because he's fixing to marry his fiance in the picture here and leave me forever. Jerk kid. But we'll sit around the dinner table and say, like, it's actually Caden more than me. He'll say something like, you know, Dad, I was thinking about Fourier analysis, and you know how those rides at the Ferris wheel go, and they've got 2 pivot points, and they spin and go fast and then slow and then fast. He's like, it's kind of like a stock market, and if we could find the 2 pivot points of the Fourier analysis and combine it with the XY axis and do this thing, I feel like we might be able to dial in the indicator a little bit closer. And I'm like, hey, bud, could you program that and just put it on the chart for me, and I'll take a look at it? The mind that God has given to Caden is extraordinary. And he blends cutting edge technology with traditional analysis to create a trading edge. Now, for those of you that get excited about Caden, he is going to be leading a apprenticeship called Foundations of Trading Stocks and ETFs. I've asked Caden to present an advanced principle this evening, but Foundations is actually a beginner level program. So don't let that distract or discourage you. But what I want you to see is, unless you're, know that you're an intermediate trader, You probably need to go through foundations of trading. But the cool thing is, you can ask Caden, hey, I've had this idea for an indicator, and what if we compared it to this and did that? And through the engagement you get with mentors and the apprenticeship experience, you can program custom indicators together with Caden. That's available to you. That's one of the benefits of working with Caden, even if his training is actually more to beginner level. So with that said, the man, the myth, the legend, Caden.
Hello, hello, hello. Let me make sure I got my mic set
I messed
properly.
up. Light up the chat or the screen with emojis for Caden. I fumbled your transition.
Well, thank you. I thought there was just one coming through there. That was a little sad. Oh man, thank you guys very, very much. I'm very excited to get going here. It was really cool to listen to Rebecca for a minute there. Yes, thank you, Kurt. There's a bunch of people. Kurt's one of them. I almost don't remember not having, Kurt Mickle is a very old family friend of ours, and Rebecca's been in Tradesmart about as long as I can remember. Chris Beverly, who I don't know if you guys know him, but he's also been a huge part of TSU for just about as long as I can remember. So it's like one big family moment as we're all coming together here. So it was very cool to get the opportunity to all be teaching on the same class. Anyway, as I get going here, I think the name of the game has been, wait a minute. There we go. I think the name of the game has been The Fundamentals Still Matter. That's been sort of our theme for the night. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more as we go. I got a cool story to tell you guys. If you've not got the point yet, that it's important that you, even as a pro, master all the rungs of the ladder. We're going to hit that again one more time in a minute. I've got a cool story to tell you that goes along with that. So I have two outcomes for this session. One, I want you to understand your journey as a trader. And so, well, yeah, that says it. We all start somewhere and we all have a goal for where we want to go. I want to talk about some of the components of that journey that we're all going to end up take together. And the second outcome is for you to learn my process for customizing indicators. Those probably seem like different outcomes, but they're actually dramatically connected. I was already introduced, so this slide is probably redundant, but you can see my beautiful fiance there. My name is Caden Hesse. I've been around for a long time. I've been looking at the stock market for almost as long as I can remember. It's been in my life for forever, and I'm excited to tell you guys some of the things that I've learned over the years of that being such an important part of me growing up. For starters, we're going to talk about the trader's journey. So many of you, we just got done with Rebecca talking about some of the very beginner things. Some of you maybe are more intermediate. And as you're sitting there considering your next steps, as you're taking them, you're going to have some questions come up. You're going to have some challenges that you face in your trading journey. And that looks like, how do I know when a trend is strong or weak? We talked about one method tonight. Rebecca taught us about the clock face method, where you can see the angle, how strong is it based on the angle. But every once in a while, that's not the most perfect way. Sometimes that'll fail you. So what are other ways that we can identify how strong or weak a trend is? How do I know if this recent volatility is sustainable? If any of you have even looked at a Tesla stock or the Tesla stock, or if you've looked at really any tech company or any medical company or anything like that, you'll know that this volatility that we see is insane. It's crazy sometimes. And so the question comes up, how do I know if this move that I saw, how do I know if this volatility, is this going to continue, or is it going to stop on a dime and I'm going to have to, sit on this trade for 2 months and wait for it to move? Or, how do I know what's going to go on? What's going on here? How do I know if this volatility is going to continue or if it's going to fizzle out and the momentum is going to go away? That's a question you're going to run into. Another question might be, what tools do I need to use to know if this change in direction, this little blip that I'm seeing here on the chart, how do I know if that's going to continue or if it's going to fake me out in reverse? These are some big questions, and really, there's probably 15 more that I could put on there that have to do with how we analyze the stock market. But these are the big ones. And I would ask you, if you had the answers to all of those questions, how successful could you be? If you knew when the stock was going to turn, how successful could you be? If you knew when it was going to, if the trend was strong and when it was weak, with high confidence, how successful would you be? If you could tell if the volatility was sustainable or if it was unsustainable, if it was a weak bit of volatility. Go ahead and give me some reactions here of this. If you could know the answers to those questions, how successful could you be? The truth is, indicators are the solution. Really, technical analysis as a whole is the solution, but a big component of technical analysis is indicators. They're not a crystal ball. They can't tell you the future. They're going to fail sometimes, not all the time, but every once in a while you will get a false signal, and sometimes you'll just read it'll be operator error. You'll read the indicator incorrectly. But they help a lot. They help a ton. You'll start with the fundamentals, the support and resistance, the trend lines, the chart patterns, things like that. And then you grow from there. And that's when you get into indicators, some of these more advanced strategies. And here's a little story. This is the one I wanted to get to. I grew up with my dad, Josh, and my grandfather hunting. They would hunt all the time. And I wanted to be just like them, especially when I was, still now, but especially when I was really young. I just, whatever they did, I wanted to wear the same kind of camo, the same kind of orange, the same everything. And when I was old enough, my dad bought me this little BB gun. And this thing was super cool. I think I ended up giving it to one of my brothers eventually. But at the time, I was so excited. So I used this thing and I looked at it and I kind of squinted a little bit, and it didn't quite look like, the rifles my dad would use and my grandfather would use to go hunting. And I was a little confused, and it didn't have a scope. There was no scope on this gun. It was only the good old iron sights. And I asked him about this, and he told me, first you learn the fundamentals, then you can advance. First you figure out, you're dealing with, BB guns probably pretty low risk, but it's training for, handling a rifle. So it's safety. And how do you do this, without, danger and risk? It's learning how to hold the gun. It's learning how to aim and breathe slowly, and learning how to walk around in the woods quietly, and all of these things that you're learning, all of the fundamentals. And then I got to advance. And I did advance. And first I got a little basic set and forget scope. You kind of sighted it in once, and then that was it. And then I learned to do that, and then it advanced further. I got another scope that could control the zoom. I think by that point I had grown early enough. I had my own hunting rifle that we were going, and so now I had a new knob that I could turn. I had a setting that I could change that helped me dial in what I needed. Then I upgraded to a scope that had multiple crosshairs on it, so for different distances, so I could really, I felt like a sniper when I got that thing. Then fast forward, eventually I got to hunt with a long range rifle, and it had 4 or 5 different dials on it. You could put in the windage and the altitude and the distance and the moon phase and it was everything. Everything was on the scope. And it was amazing. On top of magnification. And this progression throughout all these different steps, each time adding more and more ability to control different settings and change different things and dial it in, the hunt got easier and easier. It became easier and easier as I advanced through this. Each step, I added a little bit more customization so I could dial in exactly what I needed in that moment. But I still needed all of the fundamentals. If I didn't know how to even walk around in the woods, if I didn't know how to operate the gun, if I didn't know how to hunt at all, if I didn't know how to do the basics, I would have never been able to be successful with the more complicated. And the same is true with the analysis tools that we are using to generate cash flow. All the indicators we use, all of the things at our disposal, it's the exact same way. And so you're going to learn the fundamentals, you're going to learn chart patterns and indicator analysis, just the set and forget version. You're not going to, be tweaking stuff and customizing it necessarily. You're going to go through what candlestick patterns are and chart patterns are and how to be successful with the fundamentals of trading the stock market. And once you're good with that understanding, then we start advancing to customizing things and tweaking things a little bit and dialing it in to exactly what you need in that moment. Building custom stuff. It could be a slight change, could be a drastic change to a whole new idea. So as we get to that, let's jump into my process for customizing indicators. I want to show you what's possible once you go through all of those foundational steps. For the tools of the trade section, I want to tell you another brief story. You could imagine that you're a woods craftsman. Here we have one on a lathe. You might use one to turn down a block of wood into some, beautiful piece of a table or something. You could imagine a wonderful craftsman. It could be useful and beautiful and perfect. And it requires vision to see through the wood. You start with a big block. You got to see the little bit in there to know how to get to it. And you need the right tools to shape the wood and carve away and do everything you need to do to that large block to get it to where it can operate the way you want to. You need to be able to transform it into the thing that you need it to be. And there's many different tools in your disposal. In the same way, we're going to talk about what I call the 4 effects that you can use in the stock market. Some of you may have heard this before. I think I've taught this class maybe one other time. So largely it should be fresh content for most of you. There's a couple things we can do to a stock chart in terms of operators and programming. And I'll give it to you here. I'm not going to go through each of these, but if you want to screenshot it, here's all the nuts and bolts that you can put on a stock chart, things that you can apply. But this is really complicated and it's too much to think about. And you've got to be too much of an expert. And so I want to take a step back from all the complicated stuff and let's think about it more creatively. Let's think about it in terms of how we want it to, I hate to say feel, but how we want it to look, how we want it to interact, how we want to be able to see what's going on. And in that case, there's really only 4 things to consider. There's the 4 most useful tools that you have, and they're always the first thing that I reach for. Here's the tools in your tool belt. You've got things that I would call shapers. Think of these as massaging the data into what you need. You got a peak here. Okay, we're going to squash the peak down. You got a valley. Okay, we can pull the valley up. We want to just kind of shift the whole thing over. We can do that. We want to kind of shift the whole thing back. We can do that. Whatever we need to do to kind of shape the stock chart to be something more useful, we can do. You can think of the moving averages that we saw earlier. Those moving averages kind of shape off all the big stuff. They shape off all the small stuff. So we only see the big stuff. And that helps us see clearly what's really happening on a lower level. Another tool in your tool belt. Oh, I also call shapers the masseuse. Another tool in your tool belt is filters. You think of filters as amplifying or hiding a certain attribute of the data. Think of it like someone panning for gold. There's a lot of stuff there, and you're looking for the gold. So you're going to filter out and remove the things that you're not looking for, or you're going to amplify the things that you are looking for. I call these the gold miner. Another tool in your tool belt is the scaler. You think of these as changing the volume on the data. It's a really simple concept, And you could say that it kind of fits into the other categories, but I pull it out for a reason. It has to do with how we mix different data streams together. And so you may be building an indicator that uses kind of multiple things all at once to kind of come together and build this one idea. And you imagine a DJ riding the faders up and down to mix all the different data perfectly into the thing that he wants it to sound like. In the same way, we can scale our things around in unique ways, in creative ways, to make it more pleasing to listen to and to use. Scalars are the DJ. And lastly, the brute, the transformers. Think of these as dramatically changing the data and making something completely new from it. Be like a painter modifying an existing painting. I don't know if you guys see those videos on YouTube. They'll take an existing painting and then paint more on top of it to change the scene in some creative way. That's what a transformer does. You could think about, the angle. The angle is a new piece, like a new idea we're adding to the equation. And so it dramatically transforms. It's not just scaling or filtering or shaping. This is a dramatic effect that we're applying to the data in some way. And so the transformers are the painter. Now we have these 4 tools, and everything we do to the stock comes into these buckets. You look at it and you can say, okay, I like this. I like what it's showing, but it's too harsh. I need to smooth it. I need to massage it into a more useful pattern. I need to see what's really happening at a core level to be able to understand what's going on. You might see, I have this opportunity and I can see, these are the times that it's happening. Well, then you amplify that with a filter. Okay, now you're looking for that one thing, that one piece more specifically. These are the tools in your tool belt when it comes down to customizing and changing, even just subtly, how an indicator might work. Think of these 4 tools as actions, not operations. It's not applying a filter. It's what is the filter doing? It's almost like a process that you're applying to it. And that gives us a lot more creative freedom to design these indicators to be exactly what we want. We can dial in the windage and the range and the moon phase and the day of the month or whatever is on these crazy scopes these days. Now, I have a subtle challenge for you, and I'm hurrying because I don't want to run out of time. Using these 4 tools, filtering, scaling, transforming, let's design a setup to help us make more winning trades. We're going to go really fast. Here's a stock chart. This is light crude oil. And we see here it's kind of, there's some consistency with it bouncing back and forth and whatever you might see. But it's got this nasty curve in it. We're used to drawing straight channels. What's going on here? Well, we could say, okay, well, maybe we could use a masseuse to round off all the corners and just kind of get to the core. I just want to see what it's doing at its core. And you could look at this and you could say, okay, well, now that it looks like this, there's kind of a channel built out of this new line that we've drawn. And we could see it kind of gets so far away and then comes back. And then it gets about so far away and then it comes back. And that's a pretty consistent distance all the way through, even to over here. It's a pretty consistent distance. And so we could just measure that distance. This is the blue line, positive up here, negative down here. And so we can see this blue line represents the distance from the chart to the orange line. And now we have something that's pretty useful. If we kind of make this blue line full screen, it's still the stock chart. You can see the essence is still there. But now all of a sudden, this weird bendy curve thing that we couldn't really analyze very easily is extremely easy to analyze. Those are the pros that are out there, can immediately spot support zones, resistance zones, areas of confluence. All of a sudden, all of these things are revealed that were not there before because of a simple step of, I would call this really 2 steps of a masseuse, massaging it, and then we're combining those 2 signals and filtering to only show the flattened version of what we're looking at. Really powerful way that we can change the method of our analysis, but it's a different paradigm than just slapping an indicator on there that you don't really know how it works and just going with it. When you know the fundamentals, then you can understand how to tweak it, and we can dial in exactly what we need for our analysis in any given moment. I have another quick example here. Here's a stock chart. This one's going to be fun for some of you more advanced traders. We have a stock chart here, and we have some peaks and valleys, and it'd be really cool if we could just kind of measure, put them in a range and just say, hey, how far has it been trading within? Put a box around it, if you will, put some guardrails on it, some bumpers. And so we could draw two lines. And we could say, okay, this top blue line is just, like a 10-day high or a 14-day high. It'll just grab the highest number. The blue line could be a 14-day low. Okay, so now we've got a range that this stock has been bouncing within. And you could look at it, you could do some really cool things. You could just measure the total height, which could be a valuable indicator. Or what if we said, okay, I want to measure, percentage-wise, is the stock at 0% down here on the bottom line? Or is it 100% up here at the top of the blue line? Because it sure seems like it'll kind of ride the top line, and then once it peels away, it dives down, and then it'll, it bounced off the bottom line here, and then it bounced off the top line, and then it bounced off the bottom line. Let's just measure those bounces. And so we can take it, same deal, straighten it out again, and you can confirm just visually, this is 100%, meaning it's up on the top blue line. This is 0%, meaning it's down at the bottom blue line. And we can see the essence is still there. We've got measurements, and we can say, oh man, as soon as it peels away, it dives down, and sure enough, it happens here. Then it bounced off, and then it came up, and then it bounced off again, and it came down. We've identified the specific component that we're trying to look at. And some of you may know, watch this, if we move those lines in a little bit and smooth it out a little bit more, that's the stochastic oscillator that we just built from scratch. We accidentally stumbled into a incredibly useful, powerful indicator that many of you know, and all it's doing is looking at where is it at between this range of high and low. And using a few basic components, we're able to get this figured out. There's so much more, and we'll get into some of that in VIP and in the apprenticeship program and all the things. It's just scratching the surface of what's possible. You add machine learning and AI and all these things into the equation, and all of a sudden it gets incredible quickly. This is really just the surface. You can inspire these ideas from things like music and sound processing. What happens if you put a reverb on the S&P 500? I don't know. I do know. I tried it. It's really interesting. You can see some very cool reverberations of how previous patterns affect new patterns. You could inspire it from physics and engineering, things like momentum and gravity, and these ideas of weights and balances. They carry over to the stock market. Physiology, you could think about metabolisms, how long before a certain animal is going to run out of calories or whatever, how long before a trend runs out of steam. Astronomy and astrophysics, and I mentioned gravity and how the planets are looping around each other in a cyclic way, just like the stock market goes up and down. And many, many more things, and I'm going to wrap it up. At the VIP session tomorrow, we're going to be going over a couple more things. More strategies and applications, a deeper dive into the initial parts of the journey. We kind of skip to the end to show what's possible, but we're going to talk about the beginning components and how some of the initial analysis goes. I'm stuttering over my words here. We're going to talk about trend lines and channels and all the basic stuff. And there's going to be an opportunity for me to build a custom indicator for you if you'd like it. I mean, I'm all for ideas, and I love to talk about stuff. So if you got an idea, then bring it on. It's $19. There's still an opportunity for you guys to sign up. I don't know if there's a link for it. Yes, Rebecca just put it in the chat. You can click on that, come to VIP. Rebecca and I will both be tomorrow. Mine's in the morning. I think it's at 8 Central, 9 Eastern. Correct, Dad?
Correct.
8 Central, 9 Eastern. And then Rebecca will be later in the afternoon. I'm not sure what time hers is, but come to both of them. They're both going to be great. And I think I'm out of time for questions.
Yeah. Actually, I've got some more details on this By the way, congratulations. Would you guys give some emojis for Caden if you learned something? And by the way, how many of y'all were not expecting to come and consider how a amplifier, reverberator, and or the effects of gravity could impact your analysis? I don't know where Caden came from. He's got most of his mother's DNA, I think. Jen is a genius, truly a genius. I've never seen anything like it. That's the only way I know how to describe it. The way he takes natural things in this world and draws stock trading inferences from them is extraordinary, and it shows in the quality of his trading. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. I know Caden went over this, but hey, I took the time to put these slides together, so I'm also going to go over it. Give me just 5 minutes, and everything will be clear. The link is in the chat pane for VIP. What you went through tonight was the what. The VIP sessions are designed to teach you the how. That's the application. As Caden said, it's $19. And really what it is a tripwire to see who is serious and who's just kind of a tire kicker. And I get that. We need tire kickers, and sometimes people need to go through it a couple times, and I understand. Here's my promise. You can record me. This recording will go out. I don't have it in writing. It is in an email that's about to go out if it hasn't already. If you don't feel like VIP was worth $400, I'll give you every dime of your $19 back, and you can keep all the VIP stuff. I think it's actually worth like $1,000. It really is extraordinary. So, love it or get a refund. Here's what's interesting about VIP. I had Rebecca run some stats for me, or maybe it was Chris that ran these stats for me. Out of 500 that registered for the summit, and actually we're coming up on 600 right before I looked, but taking averages here from our previous trainings, 85% of VIPs will complete this Ultimate Trading Summit. That's not 50, that's 15. That's a typo. Hold on. This is how we edit in real time here. 85% of VIPs. Oh, no, sorry, that was right. I confused myself. I thought I was mistaken, but then I was mistaken. 85% will complete the training. 50% of VIPs, on average, will complete the funded account audition. That's compared to only 15 of non-VIPs completing the training, and less than 3% of the non-VIPs completing their funded account audition. It's extraordinary. Now, some of that is because those people are taking it a little bit more seriously. I realized to get a complete psychoanalysis of this thing, we would need to go deeper. But it might also be that $20 is the difference that makes the difference. Turns out, if you put a couple Starbucks on the line, you're 85% likely to follow through and 50% likely to pass your funded trading account audition. So here's what's included with VIP. You get lifetime access to all of the event recordings. You get all the class notebooks. Those will go out about a day late. So you'll get tonight's notebook tomorrow, etc. And then you get the 6 VIP only application sessions. Caden is Monday, tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern. Rebecca will be at noon Eastern. Then Valerie is on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Scott will be on Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Mr. Fancy Pants had hedge fund meetings all morning long and asked if we could break the cycle for him. I don't want to point out the fact that he broke the cycle, but he broke the cycle. When you're good, you're good. And what did you say it was, Scott? You're coaching this hedge fund to like $2 billion is their goal coming up. It's just extraordinary. He can't really talk about it because he'd have to kill you, but he can tell you a little bit and just beat you up. So if you want to know, then that's the cost of admission. So then Fonzie's back on regular schedule Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Chris Burgess will wrap up on noon Wednesday. So if you're kind of connecting the dots here, the instructors are on the following day after they talk, with the exception of Chris Burgess. We put him on Wednesday so that it didn't drift over into Thursday. We're trying to keep this down to the 4 days. There was something I was going to say, and I totally forget now. What was I going to say? Don't remember. Maybe it'll come back to me. Tradesmart.university is the link to get there, so go register. You can still register right now. I would encourage you guys to do that. What was, I remember what I was gonna say. We talked about trader funding a couple times tonight. We didn't have time this evening, and we're right on schedule. By the way, good job, mentors. Y'all stuck to your timelines. You give them a microphone, and sometimes you never know. I am definitely not guilty of ever going long. Don't say anything, Scott. Tomorrow, we have time at the end of class. I don't want to take up content time, but at the end of class, I will talk all about trader funding and how that program works and the guardrails that are around it. And it's a very cool opportunity that I wish I would have had when I was learning how to trade. So with that said, I'll take any questions that you have. This is the end of the formal content, but we'll wrap up here in just a second. I do want to handle some questions. Somebody asked in the questions pane if there was a book that would go along with this. And there's a lot of books. I was looking for, I sent my apprenticeship students a list of my favorite books, and I'm gonna have to go dig that out of our Discord server, because it was really good and comprehensive, and I put like an hour into going through my entire library. Here's the pros and the cons, and I'm happy to look that up and share that. I can probably have that by tomorrow, certainly by the end of the summit. So I guess that's a shameless plug to get you to come back. Here's what I'll tell you that you're going to find. I can give you books on technical analysis. They're about $100 a pop for a quality book on technical analysis. I can give you books on strategy, also about $100 a book. I can give you a book on risk management. That one's easy, Trading in the Zone. Read that sucker cover to cover, front to back. That one's only like $20. So there you go, Trading in the Zone. I can't think of a book off the top of my head that has the 3 pillars of the ultimate trading formula: analyze, strategize, monetize. So here's what I'll say, and I don't want to take time right now, and a lot of people have already left because the session is over. For what you're going to spend on 2 or 3 books, you could enroll in an apprenticeship and not only get all the content and the videos and the notebooks, which are basically the books, but you also can get access to a funded trading account, and you can get a mentor that'll hold your hand through it. So I'm happy to give you the book list. You're going to find out that it's $1,000 worth of textbooks to cover all of the content that we're going over. So do with that as you will. Lots of questions coming in. George, no, all access are automatically in VIP. So no additional upcharge. If you're not all access, so sorry, that's not available right now. That only comes around once a year, and this is not that time. VIP will be recorded, yep, and you also get lifetime recordings as a VIP student, both all access and the $19 enrollees. Will there be a recorded version to watch in the evening? Yes, recorded that you can watch in the evening, Stanley. Hey, Joshua, good name. If you were here at the beginning, Josh, what's going to be the next step after the summit would be the apprenticeship. That's the next right step. We do have at TSU DIY courses, and you can do that. They're in the $300 to $500 range. But what I've learned is it's exponentially better if we also give you a trading account and we give you a mentor, and it's not really that much more expensive. So that would be my recommendation to you, but there's DIY, just buy the course by itself, or the apprenticeship. What the summit is designed to do is open the most valuable trading book in your life and read through the table of contents. So we'll tell you all the things you need to do. You can go surf YouTube, God bless you, search is a lot. Or you can find your neighbor in the cubicle next to you and get them to give you some advice and mentorship. But that usually doesn't work out too well. And then people end up coming back to the pros. One of the things that's a hallmark about TSU apprenticeships is all of the instructors are trading alongside you. You can see it. You can see their stats from last quarter. They'll be sharing that. Rebecca's obviously brand new, so she didn't have a group of students she was leading through next quarter. But I'm sure she'll share with you her personal trading results. So that's one of the benefits that you get in an apprenticeship that you don't necessarily get out of a textbook. Okay, cool, John. So trader funding is available to anybody who's an apprenticeship student. I'll let the cat out of the bag. It's very inexpensive. You know, I don't want to give partial information. Let me build into it tomorrow so that it makes sense in context, because there's some rules and things that you need to follow from our funding trading partner. Now, I love that as an educator because it puts guardrails around you. And furthermore, and you don't take this out of context. Hear what I'm saying, not what I'm not saying. With funded trading, you literally can't risk any of your own money. And I love that. The truth is, it usually takes people 2 auditions to pass. It's like your medical exams or the lawyer bar or your PE exam. You know, a high percentage of people don't pass it the first time around, but then they do pass it the second time around. Well, thank God, literally, thank you, God, that you can do that not using your own money. Because some people, I was in this camp before there was trader funding, some people went out and lost $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Well, that's a venti oof. We say that in our family. There's an oof, and then there's a venti oof. That's like Starbucks lingo for large, right? We want to try to eliminate the venti oofs and make them small little speed bumps on your way to success. So hopefully that brings clarity. What other questions do you have? I do VIP on sessions for, yes, you'll have access to all the recordings for VIP. Was somebody asking about futures trading? Caden is a futures trading expert. He is our futures trader. We're not offering a futures trading specific apprenticeship, but if there was enough interest, you could probably talk Caden into teaching a class on it. How many futures traders do we have in here? Or we could pivot. Like, I'm all about pivoting. Like, if everybody's like, heck yeah, I want to do futures trading, I'm sure Caden could pivot and do that. It wasn't what we were planning to do next quarter, but you know, I'm open to majority rules. You know, Chris brings up a great point. Reading about trading is nothing like seeing it on the charts and getting hands-on experience. That's so well said. Yep, VIP sessions are being recorded. Michelle would like to learn about futures trading. Rebecca or Caden, is Caden still in here? Yes, he is. Maybe you could get Michelle's contact info and reach out privately. We do have funded trading for our futures traders as well. For those who just oh, you found it, Wendy. That's amazing. Thank you, Wendy. Wow. It must be a search feature, but still, like, props to Wendy. It's in Discord under General on March 20th, 2024. So almost a year ago I did that. That's so cool. What other questions do you have? Let me show you this VIP registration, and then we'll wrap up because it's getting late for everybody. So if you open your browser and go to tradesmart.university, that will redirect to this link, which I'm about to post in the chat pane for you. And this video is spectacular, might I say. There it is, 19 bucks. Should put our promise on this page, Chris. I mean that. Like, I don't need your $19 at all. What I need is for you to learn to put fat stacks of cash in your jeans, because that is how we make an impact in the world. And it is altruistic. That's my heart's desire. And as you guys are successful, you continue to do apprenticeships. Scott Landers is in here. He has people, and Wendy's one of them. He has some people that have been in an apprenticeship with him for 3 years. Because why wouldn't you? When somebody keeps handing you all the analysis and all the trades, and to some extent it's become a community in there. They don't want to leave each other. You know, Alfonso's the same way, has a very, very loyal following. So as you guys do well, they tend to continue on and do more apprenticeships, and that serves everybody well.
Hey, Josh.
Who's
Josh,
that?
it's Scott.
Hey,
Do you
Scott.
see do you see Kathy's question the next several nights about 7 p.m. Just or put it back up for everybody? I don't know. Just make sure you
I
saw it.
didn't. What did she ask?
She says she has sessions listed for 7 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Who will instructing on those sessions? It's just to give a bit of an idea for everybody what's coming up is what she was asking.
Yeah. Where do I have that? Well, I can just tell you verbally. So tomorrow night is going to be Scott and Valerie. You just heard from Scott on the microphone right now. And it's all about strategy. Then the third night is all about monetization. And Alfonso is going to be sharing with us how to find good trades and how to find bad trades, to qualify the good trades and qualify the bad trades. And then the sixth speaker is on the final night. Chris Burgess will be sharing with us some introduction to options trading. So those will be all the instructors. Tonight was the most beginner. And you know, it's a challenge on my end, and I'd be very much open to your feedback. Wendy Johnson in here, very skilled, highly advanced, successful trader, but listening to some beginner content tonight. Tomorrow, when we get into strategy, it'll feel like a big step up on the ladder. So I'm trying to thread that needle and make sure everybody kind of gets to have a turn at the buffet and get to experience content that's meaningful to where they're at. But what I don't want to do is lose people. So we're testing this model. I think it worked really well. Had our best attendance that we've ever had in, I'd say, the last 4 years of doing webinars. We had about 600 people registered, and doing quick math in my head, we were over 30% in attendance, which is extraordinary. The non-VIPers drag it down. And I'll tell you guys, if you're curious, about 100 people sign up for VIP out of 600. So it's all fascinating to me. People are like, I just don't have the right strategies, or I wish I could see somebody trade. And I'm like, for the love of everything important, it's $19. But I learned a long time ago that some people just won't ever take action. And so I liberated myself from the need to stress about them. So we put a $19 VIP in, and I know real fast the people who are going to take action. And that's not pressure, that's just reality. The statistics speak for themselves. So I don't know if Kim is still, or Kathy is still in here, but did that answer your question, Kathy? I know Kathy. I have a friend that says if it's free, it's for me. And I say, well, Myron, if it's free, it's worthless. You know? Thank you, Dave. Glad to have you here. Sashin, did I say that name right? You are going to be in an interesting, tricky spot because the session will be done by 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern, but the recording might take a couple hours to process. So we'll get the recordings out as soon as possible. Andrew's going to be on Turbocharge this week and working to get them out. We're also going to split up the individual talks, the ones that I gave, plus the individual instructors. And I think we're going to post those on YouTube for a week, and then they come down. If you're not VIP, the recordings all expire in a week. But that way we can, if you just wanted to go back and hear Caden, like, what's that thing that he said about Fourier analysis and squishers and Masucha and all, and you can go watch that session again. I make fun a little bit. I'm actually just enamored with the way that his mind works, and I'm grateful for Rebecca and the way her mind works and breaks down all the simple things for students. I get too complicated and too advanced too fast, so I'm grateful Rebecca walks everybody through it. All right, I'm going to land the plane there. The first session is 9 a.m. Eastern. Yep, 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. And you get emails with all the reminders and the Zoom links, and you'll be well reminded when you register for VIP. My friends, blessings and favor on all of you. Thank you for giving us 90 minutes, almost 100 minutes of your time at this point tonight. My prayer is that we can redeem the time by helping you put fat stacks of cash in your jeans. I can't get more time for you, but what I can do is help you get more resources to maximize the time that you have. Blessings. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. We're talking all about strategy. Scott Landers will kick us off, and then Valerie will help us tailor those strategies to our unique trader DNA. Have a good night. We'll see you soon. Take care.